Hi everyone. I know it's been a little while since I posted. If you saw my little community post, basically here's what went down. Um, I got horribly sick, and then that horrible sickness was followed up by like I if you're on we're in the East Coast or in Eastern Canada, the heat wave that we had last month was wild. And then after that, my office doesn't have air conditioning, so it was just I couldn't be in here. It was too hot. And then after that, I am a retail bookkeeper, and it was the yearly inventory the week after that. So I really had like 3 weeks of just nonsense. So anyway, I'm back now. And I decided to come back, though I do have like a bunch of stuff filmed that I need to edit. I wanted to like come back in a little, chill. So, I'm just doing a nails and chill. And today I'm actually making nails for myself, for me. And we're basically going to be doing this exact same thing, but on the other hand. I wanted to make some cute little summery citrus nails. So we have like lemon, lime, and grapefruit. You're thinking, why not orange? Because I wanted to use magnetic polish in it, and I, at the moment, don't own any orange magnetic polish, which I hope to rectify soon. But anyway, we're going to be doing this exact same set. So that's what we're going to do for Nails and Chat today. We're just going to be making this same set. Ooh, shite. This same set. Exactly the same, but mirrored. So that is the plan for today. So anyway, let's get to it. It starts out pretty easily. So we're going to be doing this nail in white, and this nail in sort of a nude. So for the white, we're just using the Born Pretty white. And then for the nude, I'm going in with the Jello Jello Urban Mood JJ44. So we're going to do 2 coats of the white and 3 coats of the nude. So that's what is going to be going down today. It's like it's mid-July when I'm recording this. And it's this heat wave is thankfully finally over, but it is still, nice and we're having like a very summery summer. Though thankfully where I am, we've managed to, with the exception of like one day, avoid the wildfire smoke that's been plaguing other parts of Canada, specifically like Toronto. I'm in Montreal, so we did have like one day that the air, we had that orange haze that Toronto's been dealing with, and it's so sad. Like I look at footage of people who've lost their entire everything, and it's so tragic. I really think that the government should be doing a lot more for climate, so of course climate stuff, climate change prevention. But listen, that's just me, a bookkeeper from Montreal who doesn't really have any power to change anything, which it just gets exhausting the more you think about it, So basically what I do to deal with stress is what you're looking at here. When I think about the state of the world, I just go and make something because, really, like, creation is the antithesis of, destruction. The antithesis of war, quote Rent, the opposite of war isn't peace, it's creation. Anyway, we're going to stick that in for a good 60 seconds. But yeah, it's been like kind of a wild summer. Wild in the sense of just so much has been going down, and I'm not ready for it. Today's drink, we got a bubbly pamplemousse or grapefruit, which I then just spilled everywhere. Oh my god. Can't take me anywhere. You know, I could just like stop recording and clean up and start again, but then I feel like this really shows the actual shenanigans that someone gets up to while doing nails, because my god, what is wrong with me? Just wipe up all the carbonated water off of my... Ah! Okay, guys, struggle. The struggle real today. Luckily, me spilling stuff all over my desk has given time. Luckily, bubbly is just carbonated water, so whatever. It's given time for this to cure so we can go back in with the next coats that we need. I hope other people's summers have been going a little bit more successfully than mine has. The week that I was really sick was the week of my birthday, so that's always kind of a bummer, you know? When you just want to have, like, a nice birthday and you're just having total bum-out situations. I'm going to put these in separately so that we can phase cure these. But, you know, it's one of those things where it really, truly is what it is, you know? Stick that in as well. Stick that in for a minute. That'll be all we need you for now. I'm going back in for the nude. On this Jello Urban Mood nude, I really do like this collection. It's extremely sheer, though. I feel like, personally, I would have preferred it if it was like just slightly more opaque on one coat, but like I get it. People want like a nice super sheer buildable for, you know, just doing a base to put other things on top of. But I find like it does require 3 coats for it to be, you know, the nude levels that I like. I feel like perhaps if I was doing Gel-X and I wasn't doing press-ons, I would not be quite as bothered. But, guys, I'm struggling today. I wouldn't be quite as bothered by it because I don't want it to show any of the, you know, like glue underneath. Put that in for another minute. Okay, so on these ones, we're going to be doing like the large fruit. And then on the other ones, we're going to be doing a French tip. So like this, we're going to be doing like a French tip and then the fruit. So there's like another step on the little ones. But on these ones, we can just set them aside for now until we get the fruit going, because we still got to do one more layer of the nude. So yeah, so you can still like see this has 3 layers, and you can still see how, you know, you can still see the, you know, the stand underneath it. So I do find that I do really like how this looks with my personal skin tone. The Urban Mood collection does have like a bunch of, not a bunch, but like it has different, like a cooler, this is the warmest tone on theirs, and I find it works really well with my skin tone, which has like a really, my skin tone has like an olivey base to it, but there's like a pink one, like a pinker one, and like a, you know, like a less, like more, it goes like shades of cool tone, and then it comes with like a blue and a purple. I did like I do believe I did a video of it, so I can link that up in the corner. But I find that this one looks best on my skin tone, which is very, I have a very sort of warmish olive undertone vibe to my skin tone. But yes, that's the case with this. But I do really like the Urban Mood collection. It did also come with like a bunch of fun stuff. Like it came with chrome powders, because these are all non-wipes. You can chrome them directly, which is, you know, really nice. But we're not doing chrome powder today. We're doing magnetic. Okay, this is the final coat we need on this. And while this is curing, I can stick these back up. They can just be extra cured for no reason. So I had done initially like a test of this nail, and I had tried it out by doing like the way that I'd seen it, where it has like the 3D in the fruit, and I do find that it does make the fruit look really, really juicy. But my one, like, I just thought I thought it looked too. I didn't love how it looked. I preferred sort of the flatter tone, if you can see the difference with what I ended up with. I think these turned out really nice, but if you do like a more textured look, this is very cool. But I feel like this might work better with just like one fruit in the middle, so it's not on the edge. I feel like since I was doing it going off the edge, having like the 3D was a bit too much for old Natalia. So after this goes through, the next step that we got to do is we got to do the French tips on there. So for that, I'm actually going to be combining a few things. So I'm going in with my patting gel palette, and I'm going to take a little bit of the white out. We're going to be using the white again later too. And then I'm just going to put a little bit, to make it slightly less thick, of just this bottled, the Born Pretty white. I do plan on getting like a different white. I'm trying to move away from sort of more of the low quality gels. I don't have very many left. I've been upgrading to the higher quality ones, but you know, I have this white, so I'm not gonna just waste stuff that I've paid money for. That's crazy. All right, so we got to do the French tips. So we're going to be doing the French tips on all the ones that are in the nude. So I'm not like the world's greatest French tip doer, as it were, but you know, here's basically how I do it. I pick like the middle place where I want it, and I just go straight across. Boop. And then I just sort of put a little dot where I want the things to be coming out from. And I just go, woo, woo, and then woo, match it up, and then boop, boop, boop. And then inevitably, when I've messed up, which I have, and do, friendships are difficult, y'all. These people who go out here and say, oh, it's just a simple French tip, they're crazy. French tips are difficult. We have some alcohol. I have a little brush. I put a little brush, wipe it off, and then you can just use that to just clean up where you've messed up. Okay, that's looking pretty good, I think. We're gonna stick that in for a little cure while we do the next one. Now I know that like these aren't really my, I'm not a big channel, obviously. I've not been making nail videos for very long. But I feel like I try to make videos for basically myself when I was starting out with nails. And so like my idea with these sort of nails in chat are not just like, you know, ooh, look at me do nails, but it's to actually show like how long a set of nails takes and like how much effort you put into it, and you know, just everything that goes into making the set of nails. That one came out really quickly. Did y'all see that? And basically just sort of a realistic, like what you will realistically spend doing nails, because like I know that the amount of time people spend doing nails definitely varies. But this is basically how long I spent. Like however long this video is how long it takes me to do one hand of nails for myself. Now, I know I love doing nails that have like 3D elements and using all sorts of different products and crazy amounts of color and stuff, but it's nice to do just like basic ones, because like I feel like most people, like for everyday wear, like when I'm going into the office, like I have worn the crazy nails, but this sort of nail, like this is more often, I just keep flying things around, this is more often what we're going to be into when doing nails. I swear I keep catching every single nail today. So now we have this. I do want to do a second coat because I do find it does look a little patchy. So we're just going to go back in, do a second little coat here. Just smooth everything out. Make sure it's nice and opaque. So yeah, I think it's valuable for like, you know, people who are deciding, like who maybe just, who want to get into nails, but haven't yet gotten into nails, to try to like, you know, watch other people in sort of a real time situation that aren't, you know, nail techs who've gone and studied this. Cause I have not, I didn't do this. I do have a degree, but it is not in this. And I basically don't do nails professionally, obviously. This is my fun hobby that I do to relax. Which is always a fun sentence, because, you know, when you're in the middle of doing some nails and you're getting so stressed out because things aren't working out the way that they're supposed to, and you're like, come on. But you have to keep reminding yourself, no, this is a hobby. This is not an emergency. Nothing I'm doing here has global, you know, global emergency importance on it. You just got to keep reminding yourself that, especially like when you're, you know, starting out on a hobby and you're in the I'm really bad at it phase, which a lot of people never get out of. And they never get out of the getting that they're really bad at it phase because they get so frustrated at not being immediately good at things that they give up. But here's the thing, though, is that, you know, to quote Jake the dog, sucking at something is the first step to being kind of good at something. Like the nails that I made when I first started out were fugly, but I am someone who just like never quits anything. I just keep going, even if I do not show any marked skill at it. I derive sort of a sick enjoyment from competing against myself and getting better at things. So that is what I recommend doing at all times, is just keep going, because you never know when, you know, you will get the, you know, skill is not something immediate. Like talent is, except for in very rare cases, talent is not an immediate thing. Talent is just time plus effort. So let's continue on. So we're doing a grapefruit lime lemon situation. Now for the grapefruit base color, I'm going in with the Jello Jello JJ38 from the High Teen Syrup collection. So that will be the first one that we do here. Now I know you're thinking, wow, that's so neon. Girl, what are you even doing? And I'm like, yeah. Don't worry. It'll all make sense. So I'm going to try to like mirror the nails that I have over here. So this was like going in with sort of a circle down here in the bottom. We're going to do 2 coats of these because they are syrup gels. So they go on like a little, you know, a little streaky because they are like sort of a syrupy consistency. This doesn't need to be super perfect. You will be refining it after. But, you know, get it as close to like the circle that you want as you can. And I'm going to be sort of phase doing these. I'm going to stick this in. A little nuke. I'm going to do the big ones first because I find that easier. And then let's stick it this way. And then this one we're going to do like a big semicircle going on the side here. So I work part-time because I have health problems, but my husband works full-time, so I always try to record these on days where he's doing an in-office day because he has like a hybrid schedule, because I always feel so bizarre like just talking to myself. You know what I mean? Like I feel like, you know, I try to imagine like an invisible friend sitting with me while I do these, but you're my invisible friend today. But the invisible friend is my husband, who is not here. Is like the invisible friend is non-existent. So when my husband's here, I always feel like kind of weird, just like sitting in my office talking to myself. And the first time I tried to make one of these, and he didn't realize I was doing a voiceover, and he thought I was talking to him. So he came and he's like, "Oh, what's up? Like, do you need something?" And I was like, "Oh, my bad. I'm just a crazy person talking to myself in my office. Like, don't worry about it." But he is in the office today, so I record them on his in-office days now, just so I feel less crazy. Now this one, I have like the full circle on the other hand. We're going to be doing like, I'm so bad at painting circles, but as I said, the only way to get better at something is to just keep doing it. And if you mess up, this is another reason why I wear gloves, because I can just go boop, boop when I accidentally draw it too big. Okay. I think that is a good enough circle for my devious purposes. Yep, looks good. Stick that under for the cure. And then on this one, it's gonna be like over here. I'm just looking at my first hand on off screen. Sitting right here, right there, so I can check to make sure I'm putting these in the right location. I think that's good. And then while this one does the initial nuke, we can start painting on the second coat of this. Sort of deepen the color. I really like these Jello neons. I think that they're really cute colors, but they layer really nicely with these with the mag gels I'm gonna show you in a second. So I try to, as much as possible, use sort of as many. Like, I love buying new gels. Like, I do have some footage. I did partake in the Sweetie Summer Sale, so I will have that coming up soonish, because I did record what I bought, and none of these were what I bought. This was all stuff I bought previously. But I try to, like, use as much of my, you know, regular, like, the stuff that I buy. I try not to buy things just like, out of impulse. I try to buy things that I know I'm going to use. And this, like, neon syrup collection, like, this definitely is my vibe so completely. Like, I'm going to be using the heck out of it. I also, like, made my sister a set of like summer nails with it. Like, I'm addicted to it. I think this collection is sort of perfectly my energy. I love super bright colors, which is so funny because all of my work clothes are like completely black. Can anyone relate to that? It's like you love colorful things, but most of your wardrobe is just dark basics. It's, you know, that's me. So we're gonna clean that off because we are going to the next color, we will do the limes next. And I'm going in again with the JJ40 from the High Teen syrup, neon syrup. And this is just like highlighter, like just pure highlighter, good vibes. I am obsessed with this collection. This particular nail set, I think, is probably like the most complex that I've done on this very short-lived Nails and Chat series. But I think this is a very beginner-friendly. Like it is sort of one of those that does take a long time to do because there's so many steps that you have to like cure between. But it does make a nice festive summery set. And since I am the nail girl in the office, I can't go in with naked nails. It's just not happening. Okay, so next up, this blue one goes here. If I'm looking at it's blue, it's green. It goes here. I'm gonna get a nice little semicircle here. We can go stick that in to cure while we do the next one. The next one goes back here. I think that's cute. It's so funny because I find that the big ones, they take far less time than the little ones do to get on the nail. That's just a funny little thing that happens. Next we will go here. Now let me check. This has the green circle. Okay. Make a little definitely circular circle over here. Definitely not circle aspirational, I think, is what we can probably consider my little circle citruses. They yearn to be circles. They'll get there one day. They'll get there one day. So on this one it goes right here. Woo. Gosh, I love these gels. They're just they're so cute because like when they come out they look really intense like on the brush, and then when you put them on the nail you're like, oh, these are actually like really quite chill. They're not as crazy neon as I feared. Let's do that there. Stick that under. And then the last one with the lime is over here. A little dude right here. That's pretty easy. Okay. Easy peasy. And then we are going to put a second coat as we did on the last one to deepen up that color. Now I know this looks crazy, but when we put the magnetic gel on, it is going to tone these colors down significantly. Last one coming right out from its first cure. Perfect. All right, so we stick that in. I immediately, you know that I immediately dropped all of them. Incredible work, Natalia. I really like these non-magnetic stands, but they test me. They test me every day. Let's stick that under, give that 60 seconds, and let us clean up from the lime, because we're moving on to the lemon. I'm not cleaning up the white because I'm still going to be using it. So, next up with the lemon, it's from the same, it's the JJ39. The label's now all wet because I spilled all that bubbly earlier. This is very, very highlighter coated. We'll stick that on there. So I think we might need a little bit more. Yeah. I always put too much, but I figure I'd rather just put a little bit too much that I have to clean up than have to dig back in, you know. So like, let me know, like, in, you know, the comment section, like, how your summers have been going. If you've been, you know, dealing with the same climate and health related nonsense. Luckily, like, I have been avoiding a lot of the stuff, but it is what it is in these modern times. So we're gonna do the lemon. This one, let's go right here. This is a very like green toned yellow. It's a very cool tone, which is really funny because the Magdal I have is sort of like a warmer tone, so it really sort of balances each other out quite a bit with the lemon. Okay, so we'll put that in. 30 seconds. We'll do the next one. Next one is just like that as well. Whee. I've been like, I saw these sort of like similar vibes of these nails, like all over the place, all over like Instagram, and I think I even saw a few on like Xiaohongshu and Pinterest and that sort of stuff. But I wanted to do them myself. I didn't. The only ones that I saw with like this type were the ones that I saw that had, you know, the 3D elements. But as I said, I did try it out. Didn't love it. Thought, not for me. I think we will do, you know, not 3D. Not that I don't wear, like, I do wear 3D nails to the office. Like, it's not like a sort of, oh, I can't wear these to the office sort of thing. Like, oh yeah, I'll wear these to the office. It's not that doesn't bother me. I'll wear whatever to the office. I'm actually very lucky with my job that they genuinely do not care what my nails look like. I think if I worked at a place that did care what my nails looked like, and like were like, oh, you can't, you know, well, one, like, obviously there's places like if you work in like medicine or food prep, like, yeah, obviously don't be wearing nails. But if I just worked in like an office and they were like, oh, you can't wear fancy nails, like you can only wear like plain, I'd be like, I don't think this is a job for me. I don't think I need to live under this level of restriction as an adult, you know? But luckily, where I work, they do not care what my nails look like, mostly because I don't deal with any sort of customers whatsoever. That's another stipulation. I used to be a cashier when I was in college. And then I left that and I worked in yoga for quite a while. And then I was recruited into accounting by one of my oldest friends. So I technically work for him as his like bookkeeping second. But I've been very lucky that I don't work at places where, because like, listen, I don't work at places that have like very strict like adult dress codes for non-front facing staff. Because here's my thing, it's like when you're an adult and you're working an adult job, like how much of a power trip crazy is it? That there's, you know, if you're not, you know, wearing something totally, like, obviously I'm not going to be showing up to work in, like, a bralette and booty shorts, you know what I mean? But, like, or, you know, like, something with, you know, like, swear words written on my t-shirt or something. Like, I'm not, you know, I'm not like that. I'm a very respectful person. But, like, if you're just, like, living your life, like, why should it matter if you're working at an office that doesn't see customers like I do? And my husband does as well. Like, he doesn't see customers. And it's like, why should it matter if you wear a t-shirt and jeans when they're like, no, you have to wear like a button up, and or like when they're like, oh no, women have to wear like skirts and heels. I'm like, what? Get out of here. I'm almost 40. Like, don't be telling me what I can wear in my own life. Like, that's crazy. Like, I already went to high school. I don't need to live that existence anymore. You know? And so, like, my nails are a bit of an extension of that, where I just love... See, what did I mean about just dropping everything? I love wearing fancy nails, and if I worked at a place, like, and I'm not, you know, it's not like a health-based reason for it, but I do know there's places that are like, no, you can only wear, like, simple... I'm just like, well, I'm just not gonna work here. So for the mag gels, I have chosen 3 of the Necco Gel ones. So we have NM12 for the grapefruit, NM03 for the lime, and NM01 for the lemon. And I'm gonna show you basically what we're doing here. So we're just gonna take the brush and we're just gonna pull it just nicely over here. Then I'm going to take my little regular ball magnet and we're going to just sort of magnetize it around so it's in the center. And then I have this like funky little dealy that's supposed to make like stars, but we're just going to put that over. It makes like flowers or whatever, and it makes sort of just like an interesting sort of like citrus vibe. And then I'm just going to sort of activate it a bit more, and then we're just going to flash cure that. And yeah, that's what we're doing with each of these. But so we go with the pink. Hold that over. And then just pull it out a little. Boop. Flash cure it. I just remember, like, do they still do this? Like, I don't have children, so I can't really speak to what they still do in schools. But, like, I used to remember where they'd be like, oh, you know, all this stuff that you're doing here, like, this won't fly in college. This won't fly. I'm telling you it will. Like, when they're like, oh, you can't eat in class. Like, dude, I could have brought a whole rotisserie chicken in class with me in college. And wearing, like, my SpongeBob PJs... with my hair in the world's crustiest, messiest bun, no one would have cared. Mind you, like, I was in art school, so, like, no one would have cared anyway. But all I'm saying is there's a lot of things that happen. I know that probably people watching this probably don't skew teen. But there's a lot of things that they tell teenagers that are just sort of elements of, hey, these are sort of hold-offs for, like, a respectable society that, one, doesn't exist and never existed. And this is sort of the same thing with the nails. Like, I see it these days, and I want to preface this by saying I have no problem with people who don't wear nails and who like sort of just like a nude nail. I'm like, live your life. But I do see this sort of trend, the clean girl trend. I really am not its biggest fan. I am not its fan at all. It feels very coercive to me in a way. Because basically the way that I've seen it like sort of posited is not like, oh, like that if you just like a nice, clean, like a bare nail look, like this is the stuff. It's like they call it like quiet luxury and like, oh, like clean girl. Because then when you hear like clean girl, and I hate when it's referred to like clean eating and stuff, because it gives the impression that if you're not following this sort of bare nail trend, that you are somehow unclean, that if you like a more maximalist nail vibe, that somehow that's like a dirty. And it of course, you can look at its roots in right-wing ideology, and racism is where a lot of this comes from, because a lot of sort of the maximalist nail styles do come from non-white communities. So I get a little wary anytime like just sort of basic stuff becomes the default for this is what everyone has to look like to be acceptable. Especially with, sort of the rise currently of sort of these right-wing ideologues. I'm sorry, I'm making these nail things so political, but at the end of the day, everything is political, and I would much rather like someone watch this and like feel comfortable knowing where I stand on these issues, or decide to not follow me because of these issues, in which case, like, goodbye, but I think it's very fascinating to see sort of political ideals played out through sort of aesthetics, and doing things like going against current trends. Because like the current trends that I see in feminine coded things is be unobtrusive, be thin, and sort of be part of the herd is sort of what's in right now, right? Like there's like all those friggin' like GLP-1 ads, and like fat phobia is on like a real bender these days. And I am, a chubby lady who wears wild nails and loves to, color her hair funky colors, and I'm extremely left-wing. So I find it all very concerning, especially I think about sort of younger people who may not, they didn't live through, all the stuff that I have yet in my life, because why would they? They're young, right? And so they may be sort of taken in by sort of this right-wing grift, like, that tells them to be less than they are, to, submit to, authority that doesn't make any sense, and to just, not live an authentic self. And that really bums me out. And I would like to, even if it's just like one random questioning person finds my nail videos on my tiny little channel and goes, hey, wait a second. This gainfully employed middle-aged lady who has been gainfully employed for years and has like a pretty fulfilling life is telling me I don't actually have to fit in with the herd. I can, do things my own way, live my own life. I would love to be that sort of safe place for people. And I feel like being honest about where I stand on these issues, like, sure, will it prevent some people from engaging with what I make? Maybe. But I'm not entirely sure that I would have wanted to engage with those people anyway. Do you know what I mean? But anyway, long-winded way of saying I am not, like, if you like bare nails, it's great. Like, my best friend doesn't wear nails at all. But if you think that there's something inherently, like, bad when presented with, super long, festive maximalist nails, not that these are super long maximalist nails, these are just some cheeky little fruit nails, but I was earlier this week wearing some maximalist nails, and if you think that's somehow like negative, like this negative connotation that people are trying to put on anything that is outside of the white heteronormative aesthetic, you should probably start questioning all of that, because that's no bueno. You don't have to live your life based on what influencers, trad wife influencers think is the basis of existence. Okay. All right. So we got that going on. The mag gel has been applied. It still looks kind of ugly, but you know what? A lot of things when you're making them, they go to this point where it's like, yeah, they still look they still look kind of ugly until they don't look ugly. I'm gonna need a little bit more white, so I'm just gonna put this here, and then we're gonna pull out my long liner, my beautiful Diami long liner. These brushes, like, listen, when I first started out, I did buy, you know, the cheap brushes, and I was like, well, there's not that much difference. Listen, I'm here to tell you there might be some difference. Ever since I started switching for liners, these fancy ass brushes, I gotta say, they didn't lie about how they would improve. Like, it's not that they make your skills better. They don't. That's not a thing. Only time can make your skills better. But they do provide you with an easier way. Like, they do make things easier. Now, before I'm going to be painting on any of the details, I am going to actually use the Born Pretty matte top coat and do all of them. There's like a few reasons why I'm doing this. One, like, it has made the nail surface uneven, so this will even out the nail surface a bit, making it easier to put the gel on, but also it just sort of makes like a smooth surface for doing the nails. And I always bump the nails no matter what I'm doing. So I like to, before I'm about to paint some details on, this is just like personal part, you do not have to do this, like anything I do, this is just what works for me. I just like to put a matte top coat before I'm doing any sort of like detail painting, just because I find it makes it easier for me. It makes sort of like the height differences between where we've done just a little bit less, and make things just a little bit easier. Okay, so now we got that going. And don't worry, when you put like glossy top coat, like any mattification will disappear. So we'll cook that for 60 seconds and take a little hydration break. I had this really good coconut water that I was using for hydration the past couple days, and I should have bought like enough to last me the week, but I ran out, so I'm back to my carbonated water ways. Like, what does everyone else like drink? I know my husband's he likes Powerade, which I don't know, is that just a Canadian thing? It's basically Gatorade. I know like Gatorade's in the States. Here's another thing. I'm always like, it's so funny being Canadian, but my family's from America. So my family's from New Jersey. And so it's like, it's always sort of a fun surprise to find out like what things are only in Canada. Like, I'm used to things just being only in the States, right? You know, they're like, when though I haven't been, and I probably won't be for a little while, down to Jersey to visit. Like, I know there's always a bunch of products down there that I always get that I can't get up here, but it's always interesting to see, like, to find out what is Canadian only. All right. So here's where the time-consuming bit comes in. So we're going to be taking our white polish that we mixed, like, with the patting gel and then the regular polish. And first we're going to go around... Okay. And then you want to sort of pick like your center point, and then we're just going to connect some segments here. Okay. And then you want to sort of soften the segment lines so they become like rounded at the top. If that, like that. The nicest part about doing sort of like this fruit vibe is that fruits aren't really perfect or symmetrical. So you can make them like a little bit goofy and it's fine. You're just getting the energy of what a fruit looks like. go in, fill in any little like gappy bits, and then I just want to add like a few very thin little tiny lines here and there. And then I'm just gonna blast her with a, freeze that in place so I don't accidentally smoosh it in my mouth. I'm just gonna fill in a few other little bits that you notice, and that looks pretty good. So then we're gonna do that again. Yes, so this is like our center line. So speaking of, my family is from New Jersey, but I was born in Canada because my mom married a Canadian, and that's kind of how that works. And they lived in Canada. But my best friend, she currently lives in Ohio, and she was born and raised in Ohio. How we met, long story, irrelevant to this. But we've recently sort of discovered so I'm from a place in Canada, if you're not familiar with Canada, called the Maritimes. So I spent half of my childhood in New Brunswick, which is part of the Maritimes, which is like the very east coast of Canada. And then the other half of my childhood was in South Jersey. So I'm sort of I feel sort of equally in both, except for listen, there's also a period of time where we lived in Australia and a period of time where we lived in Thailand. Don't worry about it. That's irrelevant to this tale. But so my bestie, we will find really funny little things that I can only chalk up to cultural language differences that we encounter all the time. And sometimes it's simple. Sometimes it'll be spelling. For example, the word color in Canada is spelled with a U, like the British way, L-O-U-R, but in the States it's L-O-R. And there's a few, words like that they just extra use. Some words will have one L in the U.S., in Canada, and they'll have two L's in the U.S. Stuff like that, just little things. So spelling differences are always funny, but we will actually encounter expression differences. And this is also added to the fact that I did grow up speaking French. So sometimes I can't really chalk up my language problems to, just differences between countries. I have to be okay, also half the time I forget what words are in English because my brain will only supply the French version, which bilingual problems. But the one that really got us was the expression, what a sin. This is really funny. So this, when I say oh, what a sin, what I'm thinking of is oh, that's such a shame. So you hear oh, someone passed away someone in a car accident or something. And you'll go oh, what a sin. Oh, that's, what, taken before their time. It turns out where she was from, that was more used as sort of a judgmental sort of bit. If someone, let's say, committed a crime, you'd say oh, what a sin. And so the first time she heard me use it in just a, oh, that's really unfortunate to hear sort of way, she was so confused. Because she was well, it's not their fault. And I was what no, of course not. It's just what a shame. And I'm just wondering, does that, sort of these regional language differences are so funny to me. This happens too, because there's, I live in Quebec now, in Montreal, and there's Quebecois French, but the French I grew up speaking is Acadian French. And when I tell you That's a different French. And it will have like expressions that when I used them, when I first moved to Quebec, that people thought I was crazy. And it turns out sometimes like expressions in one place that are just like very just normal can mean really inappropriate things in other places. So, you know, I do think learning multiple languages is only a benefit to people. I think more people should learn multiple languages because you only get enriched by getting more knowledge. But maybe don't bust out colloquialisms when you go to try out your language. Stick to the basics when you're trying it out for the first time, because sometimes it can go awry, let me tell you. But I find it so funny. So do anyone out there have like little expressions that they use that they then found out later on that, you know, people they met from other places, that it means something wildly different? I know that that's like a common thing. I think I saw like, you know, like a TikTok where someone was laughing about like learning Spanish, where it's like, okay, like, yeah, in Spain when you say that it means that you think they're cute, but in Mexico if you say that it means you think that they're arrogant. And it's just like, oh no. These sort of, you know, little weirdnesses, like little language expression tics. But it's sort of funny. So my husband didn't grow up speaking French. He does speak French now, because we live in Quebec, so you sort of have to, for the most part. So he learned French as like a late teen, early adult, and he always had sort of like the only way I can think of is sort of a complex about speaking French. Not really aided by a lot of the times when, if you're in a country, or if you're in Quebec, let's say, and you're learning French, and this is a Montreal specific situation, not specific to this phenomenon, but specific to in Quebec. If you're trying to speak French and they realize that you have an English accent, so even if you're trying to practice, they will sometimes, like if you're at like a cashier or something, they'll just switch automatically into English. And so he had like a really big complex, because he does have quite a thick accent because he learned French, you know, like as a 18-year-old. So of course he has, you know, he was unilingual before then. Of course he's going to have an accent. Like, and having an accent is totally fine. You know, there's no problem with having an accent. Like, if you learn a second language, you are going to have an accent. And even in even in your native language, you have an accent. Like, there's regional accents. Like, my English speaking accent is informed by where I've lived my life, whereas, you know, he has a different accent, even though he also grew up in the Maritimes. Like, he grew up in the Maritimes speaking unilingual English, whereas I grew up in the Maritimes speaking English and French, because my mom's husband's family was French, but she was from New Jersey, so, you know. But anyway, so he had for many years, I think he's mostly gotten over it, had like a complex about, he would sort of take his accent to mean that he was bad at speaking French. But the way I would sort of tell him, I was like, honey, if there was someone whose like first language wasn't English, and they were speaking to you in English, because that was your only shared language, like, say they were, you know, say they were from Taiwan or something, say they were from, you know, Vietnam, and they had like a thick accent, like, would you consider them to be bad at speaking English? And he went, well, obviously no, that's just like an accent. Like, why would I wouldn't, of course I wouldn't. Like, that's, you know, they just have an accent. Like, they know multiple languages. Like, that's something that's good. And I was like, then why are you holding yourself up to like a different standard. Like, you know how to speak French. Like, your grammar and your French is good. It's just you have an English accent because you grew up speaking English. Like, there's nothing to, you gotta stop being so hard on yourself. But then, of course, because he's kind of a cheeky guy, he was like, well, if I'm not hard on myself, no one else will be. And I'm like, you know what, you're right. I'm not going to be hard on you over this. So if it's just you sort of living in this delusion by yourself, whatever. Go to town. I'm not going to be here giving you slack for knowing multiple languages. That's we shouldn't be doing that. We should be, supporting one another in our quest for knowledge. Am I right? And I imagine, like, a lot of people, especially, like, a quest for knowledge is why they watch nail videos, to bring it back. This is truly, like, this series is just going to be, like, my stream of consciousness thought while I do some nails, while vaguely telling you what I'm doing with the nails. I think this is looking pretty good. It's really funny. It's not really funny, I guess. I always say it's really funny. It's like an expression to just be like, this is mundane and normal. I'm not a big citrus person. Well, okay, I'm going to be a little bit more specific. I'm not a big juice person. My husband and my family are big juice people, but I'm just like, I like I don't like sweet drinks with one exception. I'm a big mango bubble tea enjoyer, but my family really likes juice, and my husband and I get this like veggie box, the fruit and veggie, like a produce box situation, and it always has a ton of citrus, so he's always making all sorts of juices, and I'm just like, I'm good. You enjoy that juice. But I do like some good fruit. Like, I will inhale a papaya like you wouldn't believe. I'm gonna inhale that papaya. Papaya, pineapple, ooh, all the tropical fruits, coconuts. I fear spending a chunk of my childhood overseas in Southeast Asia may have made me a big fan of fruits that are definitely not native to Canada. But also, my family being from South Jersey also made me a big fan of like really good peaches. And let me tell you, the peaches and the watermelon up here in Canada, it's like they're fine. They are not the same as a Jersey peach. Like, I've sort of ruined my husband. He used to like peaches, and then when I took him to New Jersey for the first time in the summer, and he got like, there's like this little like, on the way from we would take the train to Philly, and then my family's from Ocean City, so we would stop by like this little fruit vendor who just sort of had like a trusting fruit thing where you just had like a fruit cart, and then they would have a little thing like, put your cash in, take the fruit and then pay, like, here's the price, like, we trust yous, don't be stealing from us. And if you're stealing from a small time fruit cart, like, what's wrong with you? But anyway, he got to taste his first Jersey peach, and his life has never been the same. Let's just say he now is like me and is like, listen, I like peaches, but God, those Jersey peaches. And I'm like, yeah, I know, those Jersey peaches is something else. They really are. I hope, like, if you ever have the opportunity to try like in July, like a peach, freshly picked peach in New Jersey, like South Jersey in July. Oh, I both like recommend and don't recommend it, because like on one hand I recommend it because it's delicious, but on the other hand it's like you'll never be able to go back to a subpar peach. You just never will. It's impossible. You will live your life knowing that the other peaches are it's just not the same. I hear that the peaches in like Georgia, like South Carolina peaches, also delicious, but I don't have much experience with those. Mine are with the Jersey peaches, and oh boy. And the tomatoes, eat them like apples. And in Canada, it's like, listen, Canada has a lot of wonderful things, and I love being Canadian, and I love living in Canada, but those Jersey peaches. Oh, lordy. They're good. I think if there was one place in the States that I would live, it would probably be South Jersey. I know that, like, it gets sort of like a bad rap. Like, Jersey gets kind of a bad rap, like, in the media. Like, it becomes sort of like, it's like a bit of a joke, but New Jersey's really nice, y'all. Like, it has its problems, like everywhere does, because, like, nowhere is devoid of issues. Like, I live in Quebec. I live in Montreal, which is, like, the biggest city in Quebec, and, like, listen, we still deal with, the same. I'm not going to pretend like Canada's a bastion of perfection. Like, we have, terrible racist cops and terrible racist government, and but New Jersey gets like a really bad rap. Like, the media really talks about New Jersey like somehow it's just this like cesspool, but New Jersey has wonderful people, and it's like a wonderful, lovely place, and I really love New Jersey. I'm on record. I love New Jersey, and I'm sad that, like, at the moment, due to the political climate, I can't go visit my family. But New Jersey is a wonderful place, and I recommend people visit it, because I think that, if you visit it, you will learn that, oh wait, maybe I've been lied to about the Jersey experience. It's wonderful. Okay. Next, we got to do like the peels. Moving on to actual, talking on to actual nail stuff. We got to do the peel. So here's what we're gonna do. We have the lemon is easy. The lemon is just gonna be yellow. Perfect. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. So the grapefruit, I am actually gonna mix a little bit of yellow, and I'm gonna go in and also mix in this like peachy pink color. It'll be mostly the peachy pink color with just a little bit of yellow, so it gives it sort of a orangier vibe. Very, very grapefruit. I put like way too much, but you know what? I'll just save a little bit. In here. Okay, and then for the lime, we're gonna do a little bit. No, I got some random fuzz. Some of the dark green, not that much, just a little bit. And then we are also going to go in with, mix it up a little, with a lot more of the light green. And we'll mix that up. Yes. Perfect. Okay. We are ready to go. Now that's cured while I've been mixing those. Take a little sip. All right, let's start. Oh, these are a little, I always forget that these are a little unsmooth, so I'm just going to be putting in a little bit of mixing gel. You can also just put in like a little bit of any clear gel you want, like top coat, whatever. But I have this mixing gel, so okay, I'm just gonna, and that will smooth it out quite nicely. So we can go in, and then we're just going to very simply paint a little peel. I just think these nails are so summery and cute. And while they are like a bit more time consuming than my normal like nails and chat nails, which are usually like really simple and quick, these ones are not difficult. They're easy to do. They just take a little while because there's just so many steps, but they're not difficult steps. They're very simple steps, unless that step is drawing a circle, in which case clearly I am not the circle drawing strongest soldier. But we got there. We got there. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly give these a little blast, just so I don't accidentally smudge them. Do a little blast. Okay. Next, we will quickly clean that off. We will move. I'm gonna go to the grapefruit next, because like if there's still a little bit of yellow, that's fine, because there's a little bit of yellow in the grapefruit color too. Okay. Okay. Do that one last because, as I said, circle drawing. I like to do the easier ones first and then end on the hardest bit. Other people like to do the hardest bit first so they can like chill out after. And I think that's like a personal. I'm sure there's like a personality test that would. Why? See, listen. I told you, I am constantly doing nonsense like this. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Get back in there. Get back in there. Luckily I didn't smudge any of them, so that's good. But I'm sure there's like a personality test situation that's like, do you like to start on the most difficult task or end on the most difficult task? And that has something about your like MBTI or something. But I am a end on the most difficult task. Mostly, I think it's because, like, I do a little bit where I'm like, oh, I dread doing it. And so I let the dread build. And then usually when I let the dread build, this is terrible. When I let the dread build, usually by the time I get around to it, I realize, like, the thing I've been keeping off is not that difficult. And I could have done it in, like, 10 minutes. And yet, I just didn't. Like a weirdo. Classic. Sure. Okay, we're gonna give her a little blast, just so I don't smudge it. I'm blasting it like sort of off camera so that I don't accidentally blast my palette. And we're going to do the lime, and then I think we just have to top coat, and we're done. Okay, lime. These nails look so cute. I'm so happy with how they turned out. And I'll definitely be wearing them to work this week. And they were very simple, as I said. They're just, you know, time consuming. Oh no, I accidentally got a little grapefruit smudge. We can just cover that. We can just cover that. It's okay. supposed to get a rainstorm today. But I've been noticing that they've been, oh my god, help, send help. That like they will say like, oh, you're gonna get a rainstorm, and then we get like a spit of rain. And I'm like, okay, that's a great storm you got there. I don't know if it's just me or if like just the forecast has always been this haphazard. Okay, looking good. Let's stick that under. Stick it under, nuke it. Give it a little 60 seconds, and then we're ready to top coat. I'm just gonna put this aside for now. Clean that up after. Clean up my brush. Clean very quickly. Ooh. Okay. Actually going to use a little bit of Jello brush clean gel since I'm done. Just fully wipe it through, get all that, any excess gel out. I try to be very precise with these Diami brushes. I don't want to ruin them, so I even kept a little plastic thing and because they are, you know, listen, they're great brushes, but they're also expensive brushes, so I don't want to be, you know, wasting my cash, if you know what I mean. So, as always, I'm going to be using my crazy top. This time I'm going in with the standard because I find that the standard's a little better at when there's like a little bit of an uneven nail situation like these nails have. Okay, I really like this new like heart-shaped nail stand. It's cute, but I will say they have been falling out a lot. I don't know. Let's top coat. So the standard has like, I use the soft for most top coating situations because I like a sort of a thin top coat, but I will say for things that have like, if you need like a bit more encapsulation, the standard is the way to go. I'm gonna flip it over and I'm gonna just blast it once it's smooth. Mostly because these non-magnetic stands, I can't flip them over like I normally do. So this is the method. Top coat. And once you have the top coat, they just look, oh, they look so juicy. When I was like thinking about this set, I initially was gonna go with like a milky white like syrup as the base for these nails, but then I was, you know, thinking about it and I was like, since I'm doing like the white in the center and the French tip, like I'll just make it all the same white so that it doesn't, you know, there's not a glaring difference between them, you know. But I think this would also look pretty nice with a milky white base instead, but I just personally chose not to this time. Encapsulating everything. I will say because of like the amount of layers, like these nails are turning out like a little thick, but I don't mind a thick nail. I'm okay with that. I'm here to just let my thick nails live their life. My natural nails are so thin and sad because of psoriasis that like they need the help. They need the help from the thick press-ons, let me tell you. Okay, this looks fine. Blast it. And this is, you know, like, I think it's important to have sort of these unedited, like, reality for how long tasks take. Because, you know, of course there's, you know, speed demon nail doers, which is great. I like that. That clearly shows a lot of skill to, like, successfully, very quickly make a set of nails. Like, that is speed is a learned skill. But I think for, you know, it's nice to see what, like, you know, what's a more realistic for the average person vibe. And if there's one thing I think I am when it comes to nails, it's like I'm pretty average. I'm not, I'm not out here being a nail master of any sort. I love nails. I love making nails. I love making these videos where I just talk about nails and stuff and make a lot of nails and wearing nails and looking at other people's nails. And here's my sort of recommendation. If you're out in the world and you see someone with beautiful nails. I have yet to meet someone with beautiful nails who is upset when someone approaches them and says, "Oh my goodness, I love your nails. They're so beautiful." Like, nah. We nail people, we eat that up. All right, let's stick these under for the full cook. So the next time you're out and you see someone with beautiful nails, just tell them, "Hey, I love your nails." Anyway, I'm just going to cut to the final shots of when I put them on. And anyway, thank you for hanging out with me. I hope that you had a nice relaxing time. Maybe, you put this on while watching, while eating dinner or something. And I hope that you had a good time with me. And I will be back with like a regular nail tutorial situation soon. I'm going to stop promising like timelines, because every time I promise a timeline, something happens to me that I can't fulfill it. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed these little citrusy nails, and I'll see you next time. Bye.